The ABS driver assist is a very useful one in F1 24. It lets players brake more comfortably without worrying about locking a wheel, especially useful in wet conditions. The problem with ABS is that when it's enabled, it can make you slower than if you race without it. So if you are chasing those best lap times or competing online, turning ABS off in F1 24 may be a better option. In this video, I'm going to run through my top tips to help you race without ABS in F1 24. The ABS, or anti-lock braking system, is an assist which will prevent your wheels from locking during heavy braking. Without it enabled, as you brake and slow down, you'll need to modulate and reduce your brake pressure to avoid your wheels from locking up. With ABS enabled, you can brake at full pressure for the entire braking zone and just let ABS handle the pressure modulation for you. In real world F1, drivers don't have any ABS and they have to do everything themselves. But in F1 24, ABS is there just to check to see if your brakes run the risk of locking up. If the system detects your brakes are about to lock, the ABS will kick in and automatically reduce and modulate the brake pressure to a point where your brakes won't lock. All of this is managed behind the scenes, so you won't really ever notice it happening. Now, the big question of whether ABS slows you down or not in F1 24 is kind of up for debate, but in some cases, using ABS can certainly be faster. It's faster if you struggle to manage the brakes without locking up yourself. With ABS taken over, you could focus more on the corner entry and your speed through each corner, resulting in you actually putting in faster lap times. However, if you are an experienced sim racer and you can manage the brake pressure yourself, driving F1 24 without ABS will almost always be marginally faster. It'll also be more immersive and realistic to real-world F1. But there is no doubt that learning to drive without ABS in F1 24 is very tricky to do, especially if you're racing with a controller. I'm going to run through some key tips now on how to quickly become comfortable with ABS disabled. And the first one I want to look at is all about modulating your brake pressure. This is the art of reducing your brake pressure as you slow down and approach a corner's apex. As you start braking into most corners, you should be looking to apply 100% brake pressure. But as your car slows, less brake pressure will be required to continue to slow your car. If you have too much pressure applied at slower speeds, this will overwhelm the brakes and they will lock up. Now, locking up will cause you to slow down at a slower rate, which can cause you to miss the apex and run wide or understeer past the corner. And this also negatively affects your tyre wear, so it's something you don't really want to do. While modulating your brake pressure is important, knowing the correlation between your steering and your braking is also very important. Now, on the approach to a corner, chances are you'll want to start steering in towards the apex before you fully release the brakes. This is called trail braking and is almost always the fastest route into any corner. When doing this, you'll need to reduce your brake pressure in line with how much steering input you apply. This is because your tyres only have so much grip available and your steering and braking are heavily linked. To easier visualise this link, think of your tyres as having 100% of maximum grip available to them. This 100% can be distributed across steering and braking, but if you exceed or overwhelm the tyres, this will cause them to break traction, and this is where you run the risk of locking a wheel. If you're braking at 100% pressure, you won't be able to turn the steering wheel because you'll surpass that 100% maximum grip. If you're turning the steering wheel at 100% lock, you won't be able to apply any brakes. Again, you'll exceed the 100% max grip. While doing a combination of both turning and steering, you have to ensure you modulate one so you can then apply the other. For example, if you're braking at 60% brake pressure, you'll only really be able to apply 30 to 40% steering input. As well as modulating your brake pressure, there are a few other techniques that you can use to avoid locking a wheel. Braking in a straight line where possible is probably my number one tip for avoiding locking a wheel up. If you're travelling in a straight line while braking, all of your tyre's grip is being focused on slowing you down, and none of it is being used for turning. As soon as you apply some steering input, you're taking away some potential grip from your tyres, which can elongate your braking zone. Of course, I mentioned trail braking just now, which does integrate both steering and braking at the same time. But at the start of your braking zone, when you're applying 100% brake input, you want to be travelling dead straight, or as straight as you possibly can anyway. Then, learning the ideal braking points will really allow you to optimise your braking performance. Braking as late as possible can save you some lap time, making you faster around a single lap. However, braking too late can cause you to lock your wheels, understeer, or miss the corner apex and will lose you time. When you brake too late, a few things can happen. Either you brake harder for longer, which can run the risk of locking a wheel. You may have to then slow down your car more than normal to make the corner, or you can miss the apex entirely, which will then again slow you down. Any of these outcomes are not really very good, especially during a quali run or during a race. Every corner has an absolute braking point, which is the distance to the corner where if you brake any later, you won't be able to make the apex without one of those negative things happening. During a Grand Prix weekend in F1 24, you get access to multiple practice sessions. These sessions are the perfect place to learn the braking point of each corner, as well as test the limits of the braking zone. During the practice sessions, I'd recommend you push your limits and try braking a little bit later. If you brake too late and you miss the corner, this is an ideal way to learn the perfect braking point for each corner. Now, I touched on trail braking a little bit just now, but I really want to jump into exactly what it is and how it can benefit your lap time in F1 24. Trail braking is the art of starting to trail off the brake pressure on the approach to the corner while simultaneously increasing your steering input. This will keep your tyres working hard throughout the whole corner, and it's certainly faster than separating the braking and steering part of any turn. Just think that if you do start braking, wait until you've finished your braking and only then turn into a corner, you've got that kind of dead area between the end of your braking and the start of your turn-in where your tyres aren't utilising their maximum grip, and this is leaving performance on the table. So trail braking kind of combines the two. It allows you to shorten your braking zone, it allows you to carry more speed into a corner, and it can also help rotate your car as well if you do it correctly. So how you trail brake in F1 24 is start by braking at 100% pressure or full pressure at the optimal braking point while braking in a straight line. As you start to release the brake pressure as your car slows just before you start to kind of lock a wheel, you can then start to apply some steering input. You'll want to be doing this while reducing your brake pressure, so think back to the 100% max grip that I mentioned before. As you start to release your brake pressure gets to 80%, you can start to apply about 15 to 20% of steering input, making sure you don't ever cross that 100% maximum grip figure. As you'll trail off the brakes even further, down to 50, 40%, then start turning even more to sort of 50%, 60% steering. By the time you reach the corner apex, you should be completely off the brake pedal and turning at the maximum lock required for that corner. Then focus all your energy on the corner exit and straightening your car to get the best acceleration. Now, with some of these techniques applied, you should be able to start driving with ABS off in F1 24. Always remember to modulate your brake pressure, as that is the key to being able to brake without locking a wheel. This is without a doubt the main technique to learn before you start trail braking or cadence braking or doing anything like that. Learn when to brake and then learn to modulate your brake pressure. This can be trickier if you're using a controller as you have kind of limited input. But if you're struggling with a controller, I'd recommend going ahead and checking out our recommended controller settings for F1 24. In there, I work on kind of opening up the brake trigger to give you sort of more fidelity and more precision while braking and accelerating. I'll leave a link to that video in the top right now so you can go ahead and click that. Now I'm going to be releasing more F1 24 videos moving forward, from car setups every day to other technique videos and how-to videos running through different assists and advanced techniques. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to be notified when new videos drop. And let me know how you're getting on with this year's F1 game in the comments. Are you racing with ABS on or off, or using a racing wheel and pedals or a controller? Let me know how you're getting on below. But for now guys, enjoy racing F1 24 and I will see you on track.